I just don't get it. I don't get it. You know what? F it. I do get it. I understand all of this. I get what you guys are trying to do. I've been there. I've done that. You guys remember the industry? Yeah, I'm bringing that up. Trying to take that out of the stupid promo. Look, I'm getting really sick and tired of having to deal with this. This is getting ridiculous. Every month, every show, you guys come in here and you do this to me. You do this to me. You do this to Tim Cash. Oh, screw Tim Cash. He's not even here. You do it to Jake. You do it to Rick. Every month, you guys get away with murder, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. You know what? There is something I can do about it. Tomorrow night, Martinsbury, Ohio. I heard from the grapevine we have something on you little jerks. So, the game is over, the jig is up. Guess we have to find out. We have to wait and see what happens, right? I'll see you little jerks tomorrow night. It's done. I'm not doing this anymore. Get the stupid camera out of my face.
What's going on, everybody? Hour number two.
Hey.
Hour number 2 here at the Pro Wrestling Experience on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Here in the soothing talents of Cliff Burton on the bass, Orion, old school Metallica song. I like to switch it up here. It's not all R&B and hip hop music. I'm very vast with my music stuff. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to get to, and 2 more hours left of the show. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Let me introduce our first guest of the day. He's at Twitter at Starks Wrestling. Former professional wrestler and podcast extraordinaire, and a big Walking Dead fan, by the way. It's Ronnie Starks. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, man, this has been a long time coming, man. I got to meet you due to our good friend Adam Daly a while back, and I got to hear you on his show before. I know a little bit about your story, but it's good. Especially with us, this could be the first time we got a chance to hang out and talk with each other. So this could be a lot of fun, man. I'm glad that you had some time to come on the show today.
Oh, man, I'm pumped, dude. My work schedule allowed me to come on today, so I'm pretty excited.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those who don't know you a little bit, just briefly, tell us a little about your run in the wrestling business. How long were you in it? And tell the fans a little bit about your work in the wrestling business.
Well, I was around for 8 years. I did a lot of work in the Pittsburgh, Ohio, West Virginia area. I was or am known as the Steel City Savior, the natural-born healer, the martyr of the mark, and might I say, a goddamn handsome man. Yeah, I had a great time. I was a pretty big heel for a while. I think up to the end, they tried to make me a baby face, so like, nah, you're too good of a heel.
Yeah.
That promo that everybody just listened to, that thing I had on them, it was actually me. I was helping the Black Hand Society win all the titles, take control of the company with an envelope with our general manager at the time. His name was Tim Cash. Mm-hmm. I put his name on it, and it was a General Grievous, or I don't know, who was that guy from Star Wars? It's a trap. I would put his picture on there, and I would say that was Tim Cash.
Yeah.
So.
It's an interesting promo, and it comes off during that promo that you are a natural-born healer. And do you live in Pittsburgh, the city, or are the outskirts in Pennsylvania?
Outskirts. I live 20 minutes east of the city.
All right, cool. I'm figuring you did not go to Raw this past Monday. I didn't think it was bad or anything, but you didn't go to the show this past Monday, right?
No, I didn't go.
All right, cool. Anyway, I have a couple more things before we get into some other big topics here about your career. So I've been doing some of this wrestling stuff for the past 3.5 years, and it's been a lot of fun doing this podcast as I get to learn from the interviewers instead of going off what Meltzer or anybody else says. So this is my learning curve. And if anything, what's the biggest takeaway you learned from wrestling during your time, whether it was being a manager or being a performer in the ring?
Oh, man. That's a great question. Man, I learned so much from so many people. I remember my early years, I was such an arrogant little shit, and I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know anything. And I think up till the end, everything I learned from people, I took everything for a grain of salt. So, I wish I had a better answer to tell you, but there's so much that happened, and I'm just hey, all right, I'm happy with it. So
you've been out of the business for a couple months now. How's it transitioning into maybe being a fan? I don't know if you are watching that much wrestling on TV anymore, but I hear a lot from a lot of people I've interviewed before that their experience in the business made them jaded towards everything that happens. Like, they can't watch it for what it is because they already know what's going to happen and why they do certain things. Is that the same thing for you, or are you actually having a good time just sitting back and being a fan of it and not worrying about, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that crap?
I'm jaded, man. I hate watching the business. If I'll sit there and watch Raw, or I don't watch SmackDown because I think it's awful. I do religiously watch NXT because I love the development so much. There's just so much awful stuff in the WWE right now, and I can't watch it. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this. So, I've been in a conundrum here. There's not a wrestling school for broadcasters or managers or anything like that. I don't know, maybe you're not the guy to answer this, but do you think that's an element that's missing when it comes to training and stuff? Because I know there's a lot of announcers and et cetera that just have experience being, whether it's an actor or just a regular news guy. I mean, I mostly know from my radio work here, but I did go to a broadcasting school. So is there any tips as far as if somebody wanted to get into business as a manager or even a ring announcer?
Well, like you said, you do have a background and you went to school for it. So if you put that on a resume and if you send it to WWE or TNA or I don't know what other companies are around now, if you send it out and if they look at it and if they think you have enough credentials to be a part of it, they'll hire you. But as far as a manager goes, I went to a wrestling school in Pittsburgh, and they did referees, managers, wrestlers, etc. So that's how I learned. I learned everything in my time. So, but if you want to do it, man, go for it. There's no one stopping you,
Yeah.
Who's going to say, no, Josh, you can't do that? You can do whatever the hell you want to do. If you love the business that much, then go for it, brother.
Now, before we get back to wrestling, I know you like a lot of stuff out with the entertainment world and stuff. This past season of Walking Dead just ended this past weekend. What was your thoughts on the finale? I don't know how much longer the show will be around. It's been around for a couple years now. It's obviously got big traction and fan base with it. What was your thoughts on this past season of The Walking Dead?
Oh, man, really slow. I think they were just building around the walkers a lot.
Yeah.
And do you read the comics at all?
I actually read some of the comics in high school, actually.
Okay.
Even before the show came out.
The only good thing that's coming up right now is, I'm not going to spoil anything, what should have happened this past Sunday. That's going to happen in February when it comes back from its mid-season finale. Mm-hmm. But the best part about Sunday is they name drop the biggest baddie in Walking Dead history, Negan. And I'm really excited about that because they'll probably lead up to that from the mid-season premiere to the end of the season. And crossing my fingers, bro, but I think Daryl's going to get killed by Negan. If it's not Daryl, it's going to be Morgan, or it's going to be Glenn. Because, spoiler alert, Negan kills Glenn in the comics.
Mm-hmm. Now, well, let me ask you for this. Do you feel like there were certain expectations that you want from the show because you read the comics before the TV show went on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was so much stuff that should have happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they did nothing. They just led up to it, and then before it happened, they just ended the show. I'm like, come on, man.
Come on,
like,
bro.
Come on.
We're talking to Ronnie Starks. He used to be part of Black Diamond Wrestling. That was the clip we got the promo from, BDW Wrestling. So, before we get back to wrestling, I'm really interested in seeing the return of Star Wars coming up in a couple of weeks. I've always been a fan of it as a kid. Maybe it's because of the era I grew in. I grew up in the late 90s, so I kind of have more of an emotional connection to the prequels. I know everybody hates it, but I thought as a story perspective, I got more connected to how this guy turned into Darth Vader than, this guy here with a black helmet and a black suit just pops up out of nowhere and he's the biggest bad guy ever. So you're a Star Wars fan, right?
I am, yeah.
What's your thoughts on the whole Star Wars thing? Is there a preference? Do you enjoy all the movies, or is it this era of Star Wars are better than the prequels?
I hated the second movie and the new ones.
Uh-huh.
I love the third one, but that little kid who played Anakin, I'm pretty sure he was in Jingle All the Way. You remember Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, that was great.
He's like, no, put the cookie down now.
Sinbad was in that too.
Oh my god, it was amazing. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I hate Christmas. But yeah, so that kid was just an awful actor.
Yeah.
Period. But those new movies weren't as good as the originals because I love the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in '84, so the original trilogy was my thing. I'm really looking forward to the new movie because it looks amazing. And so that's a couple weeks away, right? 2 weeks?
Yeah, the 18th, I think.
Oh, man.
This would be badass. I didn't look at all the trailers because sometimes a lot of these movies give away the plot of the show, of the movie in the commercials. I know you're supposed to tease and get people hooked into wanting to buy a ticket to watch it in the movie theater, but I think sometimes movies give too much away in their commercials now. Way too much.
All the best stuff happens in the commercials.
Yeah.
Like, they'll show all the best clips of the movie, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that wasn't it. Oh, great.
I know I'm probably sure you're going to say no to this, but I like I mentioned before during the show today, I like to learn something new, whether it's good or bad. It's kind of like what to do and what not to do, especially from my end if I wanted to be a broadcaster. So I watch everything, and much to my demise, and I had to cover TNA each week. So like tonight, I had to cover TNA. And you want to talk about bad formatting? Okay, maybe Raw has Raws that are hit and miss. I think the pay-per-views have been good this year, but TNA is a flubbering you-know-what. I don't know a wrestling show is that bad when it comes to format. Bro, it's the scoreboard update. They're doing this makeshift title series that was recorded in July because they can't keep control of their company on one freaking network for a year. It's ridiculous. You haven't watched any TNA, right?
No.
I don't blame you.
What? Okay, here's what I know. I know EC3 is a good wrestler.
Yeah.
For some odd reason, Matt Hardy was their heavyweight champion for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And now, wait, so let me get something straight. Because I'm still trying to piece this together from what I saw from it.
Mm-hmm.
He won the title, but they filmed this championship series like 5 months ago.
Yeah. So
And how does that... I think I'm going to drop my first F-bomb in the show. I apologize.
No
Am I
problem.
loud?
Yeah, go ahead.
How the fuck can you... Fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of it. So basically,
Please.
went a half-assed direction with recording all these shows because they knew they weren't going to be allowed to do any live TV tapings during the fall. So they needed a supplement plan to have programming, as opposed to when they had on Spike, they just aired a bunch of replays before they went to Destination America. Now, here's the thing. It was so odd that Drew Galloway, for some reason, which I think is a very underrated wrestler, he was part of the match too. So it's Hardy, Galloway, and EC3, and Jeff Hardy was the special guest referee. Matt Hardy won. EC3 followed a cease and desist thing on Matt Hardy because Jeff Hardy got involved, but EC3 forgot that there's no disqualifications in triple threat matches. So being the face of the company, he forgot simple rules of those type of matches, especially a main event at Bound for Glory nonetheless. But anyway, so yeah, Matt Hardy won, and then EC3 filed a lawsuit as an excuse to air these shows that are going to go on for the next couple of months. And then I guess they're going to finish the series in January when they move to that new network. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is for me. I mean, my issue with TNA, and it's kind of my issue that I have with WWE, it's not from a wrestling end, because I have a lot of respect for what a lot of wrestlers do in the ring, and I don't lose sleep over storylines, Ronnie, but that's me. I mean, I have no control over it, so I'm not going to get my head up my ass over something that I didn't get what I want. So when I'm watching wrestling, there's only so much of a story you guys can tell in the ring, whether you guys are getting crowd reactions or whatever. But as an announcer and a broadcasting perspective, I don't think any wrestling commentator is getting anybody over today. It's not happening in WWE. I think NXT, even though I like the show for what it is, I feel the commentaries make the show go down. The commentary philosophy that all play-by-play commentators need to sound like the robot version of Michael Cole is horrible. And I don't know why every color commentator needs to sound like JBL. This guy, besides Josh Matthews, may be the worst commentator in wrestling history. At least Mike Adamle has some freaking emotion. Yes, he sucked, but I'll listen to him more than JBL.
Wow. You want to pick that name up?
Hey, I'm a Chicago guy. He does the local sports here, so I'll support my local guy. Why not? Like, I just don't get it. Okay, he had the JBL run. The only part of it I enjoyed was when he was working with Eddie Guerrero, but that was it. I mean, just because you're a former champion doesn't mean you have a credibility to be a former commentator. See, there's a difference. I enjoyed Taz because I had a lot of respect for what he did. JBL is a one-hit wonder with a title reign on SmackDown. You see where I'm coming from with that?
And you want to know why? Because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
That's a great line. I watched that One Night Stand pay-per-view, by the way, a couple weeks ago. That never gets old. That was great.
It doesn't.
Speaking of the network, do you have it, and what stuff do you watch on the network?
I do. I watch NXT. I watch Breaking Ground. I love Table for Three.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. I think all the exclusive content that they do, I like Corey Graves' show. Both of them, the tattoo one and Culture Shock. I watch, what's her name?
Renee Young?
Yeah, I watch her thing. Obviously I watch the pay-per-views because, it's only, wait for it, $9.99. So, it's good to have for $10 a month. Sorry, $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
I like it.
Especially in today's society, I mean, you don't have to watch Raw if you don't want to. Like I mentioned before, I think the pay-per-views deliver, and at the end of the day, that's what matters the most if you're building towards a major event or whatever. It's the pay-per-views. So I kind of look at Raw like the PBS telethon things. Like, it's a thing that, like, they're going to give you a sample of what they are. They may show some stuff in between that happens week to week, but the main purpose is to get you hooked on the network, and I think that whole business philosophy has obviously changed when WrestleMania 30 came out with the network. maybe it's a good model. I mean, you have the choice to watch whatever you want now. Okay, you don't have to watch the weekly television shows, but if you want to get your wrestling, you can watch the pay-per-views, you can watch NXT. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Vince honestly feels that he's not going to lose sleep over the ratings going down because he's getting what he wants with people subscribing to the network. So whether Raw sucks or not, it doesn't matter to him because the main philosophy for the business end is the network, right?
Exactly.
Cool. We're talking to Ronnie Starks here on the Pro Wrestling Experience on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Follow Ronnie at Twitter at Starks Wrestling. Ronnie, if you had a rant on anybody for a particular wrestler or a company or whatever, if you had any rant in you, what would it be? And we'll leave the door open for you.
I don't think that's too good of an idea. I might be out of business, but I don't want to catch heat from somebody.
Hey, you said you're the natural born healer. I mean, you're a heat seeker, one way or another.
Yeah, but there's just some battles I pick and choose, and trust me, there's a lot of people I don't like. But if I ran my mouth, I'm sure I'd get a phone call after this is over, and somebody call me a mother effer, and you'll never work in this town again. It's like, well, joke's on you, man. I haven't worked in 6 months.
Yeah. Now, besides wrestling, what else do you do outside? Do you play any music? What do you do on the side when you're not, whether you're in the business or watching the show as a fan? What else do you do?
I'm a gamer.
Nice.
I collect Walking Dead toys, and I collect Ninja Turtle toys.
Mm-hmm.
I hang out with my friends. I'll be honest, man, my life is pretty lame without wrestling.
I'm right there with you, man. I love playing the new wrestling video game. Kicks ass, man, and it's a real cool challenge because the career mode, you actually have to work to get to a higher level and actually get your title opportunities, which I think is pretty cool. I haven't tried the Austin mode yet. I know everybody's saying that's badass as well. So I'm just taking it one step at a time. But that's probably one of the best wrestling games I've played in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I picked that up a couple weeks ago. I got Battlefront and Fallout 4.
Nice.
And I bought the Deadpool game too because Deadpool's the man. So
he is the man, and I'm looking forward to that movie next year. It's gonna be badass.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Did you see my picture on Facebook with me sitting on Deadpool's lap?
Not yet.
It's funny. I went to the movies last week with this girl, and yeah, that's a long story for another day. And and I saw this cardboard cutout of Deadpool. He's sitting on like Santa Claus's throne, and he's got the Santa hat on. And I'm just like, I'm doing this. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I sat on Deadpool's lap. It was kind of funny.
Now, are you a DC or a Marvel guy?
I am a Marvel guy. I hate DC, except for Arrow and Flash, because I watch that religiously.
Those are good shows.
They really are.
I don't watch a lot of TV besides the sports and wrestling, but I do get a chance to check out Arrow. Very, very good show. A couple wrestling stuff before we let you go, Ronnie. And this has been a fun conversation so far. Let me ask you this. WrestleMania is coming up in a couple of months. This year's went by so fast. I mean, I really feel like it was yesterday that I was in Santa Clara actually covering the event this year. It's crazy. It's about to be Christmas time. Anyway, WrestleMania 32. I don't know if they actually could get 100,000 fans, whether the card is good or not, because you got to put in the fact that when WrestleMania 3 happened, it was just a straight, not a ramp, but just a straight way to the ring. There wasn't stage, there wasn't a Titantron, there wasn't a big ramp or anything. It was just an aisleway down to the ring. So even then, you're probably thinking maybe 95,000. So I don't know if people are really looking into that when it comes to like, oh, they're not going to get 100,000 fans because, oh, the wrestlers are injured and, oh, the booking is blah, 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 blah. You see where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Yeah, because I feel that's a topic not a lot of people are bringing up because I'm doing a lot of production in and learning stuff from the broadcasting end. Those stages they do, they put almost half their money they spend on a particular WrestleMania, not only on the marketing and the banners around the city, Ronnie, but they also put half of the money into the freaking Titantron sets they have for those shows. It's crazy. Anyway, let's talk about Mania. If you had any matches that you would like to see at Mania, what would it be?
I want to see Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar. I know that's been talked about lately. And I would like to see, Chicago's own CM Punk come back to face Stone Cold Steve Austin once. That'd be pretty cool. If you don't know this, all of Chicago's going to know this. I have a huge CM Punk mark. A huge CM Punk mark. So if he's listening, hey Punk, hey Phil.
Hey, brother, you landed on the right show because besides The Undertaker, CM Punk's my all-time favorite wrestler. So I'm right there with you, man. I honestly, I don't know what was the moment for you that said, "Oh, I had to be in the business." But for me, that moment was the being there in attendance for that Cena Punk Money in the Bank match. I was
you lucky son of a gun, man.
Yep, I was right next to those. If Punk loses, we riot, guys. I think you can see me during that entrance. It was probably the greatest wrestling show I ever been to.
I'm so jealous, man. Your Chicago crowd was amazing. You guys are the rowdiest bunch of guys I've ever heard in my life, and your dedication to your guys is amazing. Yeah. When it comes to the Pittsburgh crowd, we suck.
Yeah.
If you can listen on Monday night, the crowd wasn't dead because we didn't care. The crowd was dead because the show sucked. All right, and people are like, "Oh, they're dead for Dolph and Tyler Breeze's match." It's not their fault. It's just your company sucks right now.
Well, I look at it a different way because, yeah, some crowds are going to be quiet if the show's not good. I agree with you on that end. But at the same time, there is dead crowds. I mean, look at Indianapolis or anytime they go to Atlanta. I kind of feel like it's a bad thing when you try to put a pay-per-view in the NWA territory, but that's me because you still that fan base. Yeah, you may have a lot of WWE fans there, but that's NWA territory. So you might have a lot of jaded fans who don't give a crap about the WWE because they took away WCW from them. So that I can see where you're coming from with the crowd end. My thing is Pittsburgh's more of a rowdy crowd when they have pay-per-views because it's not offense to Pittsburgh. Yeah, you guys are honest and you give reactions when it's necessary, like the Tommy Dreamer return this past Monday. But also, I feel like the only time I hear a peep out of Pittsburgh is when pay-per-views come around because you usually have people from Philadelphia also coming in and watching the shows. Hence the Rumble this year. I mean, I really hope it doesn't happen again in Orlando. I mean, I think a supplement thing to not get as much vitriol from the fans during the Rumble matches. If you had some NXT guys as surprises, you don't have to do half NXT, half WWE guys, but if you're gonna have surprises, at least have a couple NXT guys since you're in Orlando. You know what I mean? Or I agree. Maybe you could bring in James Storm. I'm not sure. I mean, it's also TNA territory, unfortunately, but it is.
I mean, he's back tonight on NXT.
He's going to be on the show? Nice.
Yeah, he's on the show tonight.
I'll try my best to check it out. Speaking of NXT, NXT TakeOver London's coming up in a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I get to cover the show for WrestleZone. But so obviously we got Finn Balor and Joe in the main event. I've been really busy. I haven't got a chance to check out the most recent episodes. But what other matches are on the London card?
You know what, man? I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't think they've announced anything yet. I think they announced a women's match. I think Bayley is defending the title against, what's that girl who smiles all the time? I can't remember. Nia Jax.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're like, yeah, shit. And I think there's a tag title match, too. I think it's Enzo and Cass versus the new tag champs. I forget their names.
Dawson and Wilder is it's a good tag team. I like those guys. They're pretty good in the ring. I like to see them cut a little bit more promos, but those guys are pretty good. Enzo and Cass are always entertaining, so they'll get a big reaction from that crowd.
I think Sami Zayn's coming back too.
That would be cool. I mean, it should be about time that he comes in. But at the same time, I mean, if he's just going to be in NXT and then we go up to Raw and then he has the Daniel Bryan syndrome, that's going to suck for especially like a guy like him who loves wrestling. You know, he's been having some bad run with injuries lately. I mean, this may be the worst year of his career because he barely wrestled. He had some stuff with Kevin Owens earlier this year, but even then, he's had injuries there. So Bayley took on Eva Marie last week. I heard that was the big topic of the discussion from last week's show. Did you watch the match? And what's your thoughts on Eva Marie?
She sucks. I don't know who I hate more, Eva Marie or God, I can't remember her name. Dana Brooks.
Oh,
I don't know
she's horrible.
She's awful. If you see my Twitter, I'm probably tearing those two apart a lot during NXT programming.
You know what? That'll be my entertainment tonight while covering TNA because I gotta listen to Josh Matthews and the Pope do commentary for 2 hours. You think
Pope is back?
Yeah, Pope's the color commentator on TNA. If you think having to cover Raw is a chore, TNA is 10 times worse. Trust me. Trust me on that, man.
I was just trying to watch TNA tonight, and then I can just tweet you about how bad it is.
Yeah. Yeah, tag me in the post. I'll retweet it. I don't care.
All right.
Sounds good, man. Ronnie, before we let you go, man, tell the peeps where they can find you on Twitter. And, yeah, man, it's been a blast. Tell the fans where they can find you on social media.
You can follow me at Starks Wrestling on Twitter. If you want information on Black Diamond Wrestling, go to www.blackdiamondwrestling.com. I don't know, you can add me on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find through Josh. That's it, man. That's about it for me.
Sounds good, man. It's been a blast, man. You're welcome to come on the show anytime you want, brother.
Oh, please, man. I'd love to.
It's been a blast, bro. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Take it easy.